Time for another episode of Talking Hands. I appreciate the feedback, guys. A lot of people have said I say too much, so I'm trying not to do that now that I'm conscious of it. So all the comments in my previous videos, I think this is like the 6th or 7th one I've done. Always cool to grow and make some more videos. So this one here is going to be about tools, AR build tools. All the different tools that I've picked up over the years that I use pretty much every time I want to make modifications or rebuild one of my ARs, which if you have restless rifle syndrome is really, really frequently. So I'm getting started here, going from left to right. Maybe I'll just kind of pick some stuff up. The most important thing to me to have, and this is off camera, is heat. You will need heat to disassemble your ARs quite frequently to break Loctite or to expand one of your pieces of metal that's attached to another one while you are trying to remove it. So having just these standard blue propane torches here with a lighter and the standard cap is very, very useful. A hammer, there I go saying again. Now I'm going to be super conscious of it. This hammer here is a Tecton, something that I've used quite a bit. This has nubs on both sides so that you can not break things while you are hitting stuff with it. So very, very useful. Over here is a breaker bar and a 1-inch drive socket. So these two things put together, and I have this here purposely to show you. They slip together. The breaker bar is useful to take off stuck barrel nuts. When you have 100 plus foot-pounds of torque from some of these manufacturers, this 1-inch socket, drive socket, that will connect to, I'm going to move these over here to the side, the 1-inch socket on this wrench here, when put together, plus the breaker bar, gives you plenty of force to remove stuck barrel nuts. And I'm going to move things out of the ways here as I go. Wrenches, 3/4 inch with a little modification. This is a crow's foot, 3/4 inch crow's foot, very useful. Some of these are not super high end, you know, Craftsman, snap-on type stuff, but they work. They're in spec. This one here, you can see I ground it down. I took it down a couple millimeters on this 3/4 inch because some flash hiders and brakes have a very thin section where you can attach these wrenches to, and being able to have it a little bit smaller to fit in works really, really well, or else you won't be able to take it off. Two more crow's foots that I have are for barrel nuts and also for flash hiders and brakes, a 3/4 inch as well as a 1 1/4 inch. 1 1/4 seems to be a very common barrel nut for free float handguards when they're generic. I have a bunch of those on 22 setups. The 3/4 here is very useful again for flash hiders and brakes, so I keep those around to aid in that. Punches, you need these to install parts on your lowers, roll pins, things like that. This one here is an auto punch, I guess they call it, and this is used to stake things. I stake screws, stake set screws, stake the castle nut after you install the castle nut onto your lower receiver. Very, very useful. This one has lasted me over a decade. I think it was $10 at Home Depot back in the day. This is just an example. You'll need more punches than these, but these are definitely an integral part of building an AR. Keeping on going, a headspace gauge. I believe this is a no-go. To be quite honest, I rarely ever use these because I'm only building for myself, but this is a 1.473. I believe it's a no-go gauge. Don't use it a whole lot, but have used it once or twice to make sure. This here is something that I haven't seen a lot of people in, some other videos or some other tips and tricks. This is a 1/2 by 28 tap and die, one or the other. But 1/2 by 28 is obviously your barrel threads on the end where your flash hider and brake will attach to. So being able to chase those threads after switching flash hiders or brakes, if you mess around with your stuff a lot, gets off the Loctite or rock set or whatever it may be from those threads and allows you to clean them much more efficiently. Getting ready for the next one. Going along with cleaning threads, acetone with a little dispenser bottle. Don't remember where I got this, but it's very dirty somewhere or other. Acetone, very important to clean off threads while you're changing things. Greases and lock sets. Man, I just did a bunch more ums. Sorry, guys. Loctite blue and purple. Rock set, I did not have this in my Loctite recommendation video, a Loctite overview video, but this is something that you'll need to use for flash hiders and brakes when using them on or as suppressor mounts. It does not break down under high heat like Loctites do. The Loctite Red is a little bit more resistant, but this is what's recommended. You obviously want to grease. Again, this was a honorable mention in that Loctite video. This is the Aeroshell 33 MS for barrel nuts. Highly recommended. I think you can sub this for another one, silicone grease or some sort. Don't quote me on that, but this is the military spec for barrel nuts. These are pretty self-explanatory, but not everyone has these longer ones. Torx, Allen keys, long shank Torx bits are very, very useful when you're installing optics. Sometimes you won't be able to get into a 1.93 or 2.26 inch mount, and the length of these will allow you to install all of those finely threaded screws, along with something else that I highly recommend getting, which is an inch-pounds driver for screws. I got this recently, only within the last couple of years, after years and years and years of building ARs. I was a big fan of just tightening plus 1 or 2 ugga-duggas, and that did not work very well in some cases, because when you feel that screw keep going, you're in big trouble. So definitely recommend investing in one of these. A honorable mention in that category goes to this guy here that was slightly off screen. Grabbing a set of extended Allen key drivers like this can be massively helpful when doing rail installs. The Daniel Defense RIS 2 rail, I believe it was called, that's used on the Block 2s. You needed something like this to drive those Allen keys in from the rear and get them torqued properly. So I have these laying over from installs of those, but very, very useful as well. A spanner wrench and a castle nut tool. So this is your standard tool to install castle nuts on lower receivers, but something else that's very useful to have is a spanner style like this. This also works great for hub mounts on suppressors. So I believe the teeth are almost the same size. Definitely recommend having one of these laying around to aid you in those installs as well. This right here is for gas blocks. Tap Magic I'll go into in 1 second, but this is an SLR Rifleworks gas block dimpling tool. Highly recommended. Lots of manufacturers make them, but this one is the most versatile that I've found, along with the matching drill bit that goes into the hole. Maybe this is the wrong one, it's not quite fitting, but it was in the parts pile. Something that is not recommended very often that I do have and I highly, highly recommend is a I think this is called a spade bit driver. This will make a much cleaner hole when you are drilling gas block set screw dimples in your barrel. I grabbed this on Amazon, I believe. Yeah, 532 carbide spade drill bit. Really great drill bit to have instead of the standard drill bit if you want a nice clean hole for your low profile gas blocks. And then I had this in here. This has lasted me at least 15-20 years. Just one drop of this makes cutting into your barrels much easier. So highly recommend some of this as well when doing any drilling. Last but not least, we've got a couple more items here. These are mostly fixture things, except for this, which I'll get into. Maybe I should have done fixtures first, but just real quick, having brushes, copper and steel, to clean things off, as well as clean off nuts and bolts and threads that have had thread locker on them. Extremely useful to get that gunk off after install and reuse. This is a new addition for me, but I seem to be using it more and more often. This is what's called a flex hone, and they have it in different caliber sizes. This one here is for 223, 556, but what it does is allow you to, with lubrication, ream and polish the inside of your chambers that are getting really gunked up with either carbon or some burrs from you know, when they had cut and reamed those chambers. I highly recommend grabbing one of these if you feel that you are at the level where you want to mess with something like that and make sure your chambers are nice and smooth inside. So these two here are pretty essential, and I don't think many people know my favorite use for this one here, but this is a Wheeler Delta Series AR10, AR15 fixture block, and you put your upper receiver on top of here and it'll lock in here with some pins, right? But there's a Picatinny channel, Picatinny size channel in here, and I'm gonna step away for a second and grab something. But what this will allow you to do is, and bear with me here. Oh man, there's a bunch of ums again. I'll get it one day. You slide this into here, and it's not a performance art, so there we go. If you have an upper receiver and a free float rail, this will, and you can see my clamping marks from my vise, you put one here and you put your free float rail here. Apparently I can't talk or not say today. This will clamp them both together on plane while you are torquing down your free float rail. Wow, say that 3 times fast. This will allow you to align the Picatinny rail of your free float rail and your upper receiver upside down while it's being secured in your vise, so that the Picatinny sections stay on plane. So very useful. And last but not least is something everyone should have, also a Wheeler product because I find them on sale frequently, is this upper action rod, reaction rod they call them. Geisele makes one, Midwest Industries makes one, I think. Heck, even Knights Armament makes them. But this Wheeler one was, I think, under $40 on sale, and it's worked fantastically. I've switched over to this exclusively versus the plastic clamping system with the interior insert, because this grabs on to the barrel extension, and unless you give it a lot of ugga-duggas, you will not be tearing apart that barrel extension, which is put on with over 200 foot-pounds of torque, if I remember the spec correctly. So this is highly recommended. I use this almost exclusively for all of my installs of, gas blocks, flash hiders, brakes, anything that needs torque on the end like that, and has been a really instrumental product in doing AR builds. So that's everything that I had out here. This was another neat one-take video for me. And again, guys, I appreciate the feedback and comments about how I'm presenting things, how I'm giving you guys this information. I'll continue to work on that, but hopefully someone found this information useful. Thanks, guys.